Imperial mustache, plump cheeks. Important man. Cause of death, stab wound. Blade between the ribs, straight to the heart. Holding something. Silver chain, snapped. Ripped it off someone. Something odd about this. Might find more clues in the village.
Gaetan. I'll first go over the quest he appears in The Witcher 3, and after that I'll speculate a bit about what could have happened besides what is shown and told to Geralt. Not every Witcher contract ends well. Sometimes the Witcher could be killed by the beast he was hired to slay. Sometimes the Witcher will not succeed in his contract and abandon it. And sometimes a Witcher will have to deal with peasants refusing to pay him for his job. Even though Witchers show no emotions to most people, sometimes peasants think that they can try and convince a Witcher to take no gold or almost no gold because the peasants needed more than the Witcher.
Oh, good sir, me young'uns are starving. There's a war on. Gods have mercy. Show some pity.
A Witcher might understand and accept it, or he would force them to pay, because that was the deal. Most of the time, they will pay the Witcher in full and kick him out of the village. However, when they try to kill a Witcher by stabbing him in the back because he didn't want to pay, that's when things get messy. And that's how the small village of Honorton became the site of a massacre. They hired Gaetan, a Witcher from the School of the Cat, to kill the Leshen that roamed the woods near the village. They made a deal to pay him a certain amount of gold, and he took off to kill the beast. When he returned with the head of the monster, the alderman offered him only 12 crowns, which was barely enough to cover the cost of Gaetan's potions. Gaetan became angry at the alderman because he refused to pay him the amount they agreed upon. After some talking, the alderman told him that they had hidden some coin in the barn to hide from the Baron.
Calm now, Master Witcher. Me and the lads, we hid some gold in the barn so's the Baron's men wouldn't take it. Come, you'll get your coin right quick.
And they went there, Gaetan, the alderman and the peasant. Once they entered the barn, the peasants closed the door behind him and stabbed Gaetan in the back with a pitchfork. Gaetan turned away just in time to not die by the stab.
How the hell did you survive that? Pitchfork wounds are bad. Know that all too well.
I turned at the last instant. Prongs went in shallow, at an angle. Missed my lungs.
He became furious. First they refused to pay him, and now they tried to kill him. He drew a steel sword and killed every peasant in the village out of rage, only calming down once he saw a little girl that reminded him of a sister when he was young.
The girl. Why'd you spare her?
'Cause... it doesn't matter.
Wouldn't have asked if it didn't. Talk.
Reminded me of my sister. How I remember her from... just before they took me away to the School of the Cat.
She was the only one spared from the entire village. He took off and sat down on a bench in a nearby cemetery, when shortly after, Geralt of Rivia, the White Wolf, showed up. Geralt was here to decide his fate, to kill him or spare him for what he had done. This choice has been one of the most thought-provoking in any of the side quests. It has caused some people to argue about what they think is the best and right choice. So let's start and explain both sides. Killing Gaetan. Gaetan is justified in murdering the alderman and the peasants trying to kill him. However, he went too far when he massacred the entire village. He seemed to not regret his actions and would do it again if he had a second chance. If you look at his hideout, there are 3 more monster heads mounted to the wall. A water hag, a ghoul and a foglet. It is possible that he has killed people over those contracts as well, and there's no guarantee that he would not do it again in the future. As well, there's a human skull in his hideout, which is kind of suspicious. Not killing Gaetan. The peasants tried to kill him because they didn't want to pay him what they agreed upon. Of course, he went too far with the killing, however, they should have just paid him. The amount of witchers in the world is getting lower by the day, and you wouldn't want to kill a fellow witcher on the path. Especially in a time when some witchers don't hunt monsters anymore. The Viper Witchers act like assassins and kill kings in command of Nilfgaard. The Cat School has become a band of killers for hire, killing more people than monsters. Because Gaetan is from the school of the cat, he has to be rewarded for his choice to keep killing monsters for coin, even though most of his brothers have turned to killing only humans. The choice here is up to you, the player. I'll start off with a little bit background about Gaetan, and then I'll turn over to the speculation part. Gaetan is a witcher from the school of the cat. At a young age, he was taken from his home and his beloved sister. For many years, he walked the path. So many in fact that 10 years passed, around 1262, his sister had died of old age. While Gaetan was on the path, he received a letter from Joel, another cat school witcher, that their school had been attacked by soldiers and that he better try to avoid cities and the main roads. It's unknown whether he gave Marcus from the bookstore in Nilfgaard the conserved Shalmar trophy he had before or after he received his letter.
I haven't much just now, but I'll add a bit of loot. Another witcher left it as collateral. What was his name? Gaetan?
That's so. Interesting. Thanks.
But at least he had to have visited Nilfgaard not too long before Geralt encountered him near Honorton. Most likely, he received a letter from Joel while he was in Nilfgaard and left the city soon after, heading south, possibly to meet up with him. In need of coin, he most likely took the contract to have enough money to head south to go to his fellow cat witchers, and to be able to stay on the path for a while. However, he got cheated here, and besides not getting paid, they tried to kill him, which would have not have only been bad for him, but he would not be able to help out his friends in the south as well. He flew into a rage and killed them all.
He ran out of the barn, blood all over him, and anybody who... well, all of them, one by one, with his sword like this. Me mum and my brother too.
Because of his anger, and because they may have heard about the contract that was out on his head, and possibly planned to get coin from it. After all, the other man was suspiciously well off for someone in Velen, and it's surprising he couldn't pay. Most likely it was just out of greed that he didn't want to pay. Also, if you spare him and visit his hideout, you can find bandits there, looking for him, wanting to get inside of his hideout.
Well, go ahead then, check for traps. Balko ought to go. Chap's got one lame leg already. He's not got so much to lose. Fucking bastard!
So he took out the entire village, and anyone that might have heard about the contract on his head, or that could have come after him for the gold, or could tell someone where he went. After all, he was hunted, and he had to get out of there quickly, and most likely would prefer not to be followed. Depending on Geralt's choices, he could have survived or be killed. Gaetan doesn't like to play fair. If you want to fight him, keep that in mind. Do not let him drink the swallow potion, because he'll throw a bomb at you instead.
So mind if I have a dose of swallow? Come on, I'm injured. It'll even the odds a bit.
Fine. Drink.
Much appreciated. Behold, a witcher with honor. And no brains!
He uses the Witcher signs as defense and offense, so be aware of those and try to keep your gwent up at all times while fighting him. In the end, Gaetan was a witcher that was betrayed, and he could not let it go. What do you think is the right choice to make about Gaetan's fate? Leave it in the comments. I'm curious if I missed something about Gaetan. I try to upload 2 videos a week, however sometimes I'm a bit busy and it's a bit more difficult to get 2 videos out each week. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments. Till next video. Bye.